The Titans are going into Los Angeles as 7.5-point underdogs. And I'm okay with that line. I'm going with the Rams just out the gate here too, because similar to talking about Aaron Rodgers being out of this game, similar to talking about Kyler Murray being out in his game, Derrick Henry is the heart and soul of that Titans offense, the heart and soul of that team. You know how many times that Derrick Henry erases a bad play call because he's just such a dynamic athlete that he can do that pretty much like a good majority of the time, because I have no faith in Todd Downing as an offensive play caller. Now there's going to be a lot more pressure on Ryan Tannehill, Julio Jones to finally get things going this year. A.J. Brown's finally been starting coming around since he's gotten healthier. But you're just not going to replicate the production that Derrick Henry brings you with Adrian Peterson or Jeremy McNichols. We talked about it in fantasy this week that you're not finding a Derrick Henry on the waiver wire. There is nothing even close to a Derrick Henry on the waiver wire. So you talk about the real life game. There is nothing close to that 6'5", 250-pound bulldozer that has 4.4 speed. They could just run through grown-ass men and embarrass them week in and week out. Hell, against the Rams, he even could give Aaron Donald a run for his money. He could run over Aaron Donald. You don't have anyone in that backfield now that can do that. And if you're telling me that Ryan Tannehill has to drop back 50 times in this game to replicate that production on offense, I'm going to tell you that's a losing strategy against the Rams, because now they added, obviously I diminished the value of adding Von Miller earlier in this podcast, but you do have another pass rusher back there. If those guys could just pin their ears back and go after Ryan Tannehill, then that's going to make for a long day. And you also factor in Jalen Ramsey can just erase your top target in the game, could just erase whoever he's guarding, whether that be Julio or A.J. Brown. I do lean towards Brown based on the fact that Julio has been pretty much a non-factor in this offense this entire season. Just nothing is lining up for the Titans to pull upset in this game. They've come off some great victories, but their streak ends here in Los Angeles going on the road Sunday Night Football.
Weird that they have a streak, because I didn't think the Titans were that team coming into the season, but good on them for getting the 2 wins against the Colts and pulling off the upsets against the Chiefs and Buffalo, and doing it a couple times where you start to have the doubt creep in that maybe the Titans aren't as bad as you thought they were at the start of the year. Now, will they still win the AFC South? Probably. Will they still be the number 4 seed? Probably. And will they lose a playoff game probably on ESPN against the 5 seed? Yes, because that's what the AFC South has been doing for like 7 straight years now. But I will say the Titans losing Derrick Henry is tough for them. On the other side of the ball, since you did a good job talking about the Titans offense against the Rams defense, I find interesting that the Titans defense played really well against Kansas City and then came back against the Colts and didn't have that type of game. But also the Titans defense isn't one that we think is very good, but it's been better than anticipated. I think they're ranked like 12th according to Pro Football Focus at this point in terms of defensive units. So I don't know what to do with that specifically coming into this game. I would imagine the Rams would like to run the football more and control time of possession. Maybe that means big day for someone like a Darrell Henderson or Sony Michel, who knows? But this probably won't be one of those games where Matthew Stafford is throwing for 400 yards and they have to, charge back from behind, because the Titans are going to try and sneak this one away with defensive game plan. And I don't think that that's going to work out as well. But also it's kind of a pick your poison type of thing, right? Like the Titans lose that offensive firepower. So now you lean on your defense a bit more, or you lean on your offense to try and replicate Derrick Henry production, which I feel like is going to be a losing battle unless you totally rethink the way that you do offense, which don't think that's going to happen for them. So I'm with you. I'm taking the Rams in this one because the Rams were already a better team with or without Derrick Henry. And my fantasy team is crushed by the loss of Derrick Henry. I'm feeling quite sad right now.
Oh, it's just a huge bummer. I think there's been no more joy in watching a running back than watching Derrick Henry. We talk how much fun it is to see like a guy like Kenneth Walker in college just dominate. Derrick Henry, the NFL equivalent of that, is just been amazing to watch over the last several years. And there is that worry, we mentioned this on the fantasy show as well, that we see these injuries happen and we don't think much of that at the time. We think, okay, the guy's just going to get healthy, get back to normal. And then just they tend to persist. It tends to become a lingering issue. I mean, you look at Christian McCaffrey, he gets the first injury and has not been right since. I'm hoping that's not the case. I'm hoping the fact that Derrick Henry is just built different keeps him back next year. He's back in the playoffs and the Derrick Henry we know and love. But I also saw Greg Olson's career get destroyed by a foot injury. These foot injuries, too, they obviously, you talk about being a pro athlete. There's no way to avoid using your foot on any given play. So I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping Derrick Henry comes back stronger from this, but just keep that in the back of your mind that it could spiral on you really quick when it comes to an injury and certainly a lower body injury like a foot.